I am afraid for this generation that is leaving college and the ones that are in high school right now, because I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you, their aptitude tests are absolutely garbage. Their personality skills are absolutely atrocious. Their phone skills are horrible. I have no, and I say this, in almost a plea to the
Hmm.
world and the universe listening. I have no use for the entire lot of them.
Allow me to challenge that a bit because welcome to Stories from Your Future Self. Unlike most podcasts who just interview high performers, on this podcast, I create deep, powerful breakthroughs for my guests in 15 minutes or less. We amplify their confidence, their revenue, their results, and get them closer to their big dreams. I'm Bogdan, and my clients call me the fastest coach in the world, partially because of my martial arts background, but mainly because I see what most people miss. And I do in minutes what most business or mindset coaches do in months. Now let's dive in because these insights will help you with your own personal breakthrough, getting you closer to your dreams. Help me welcome Andrew Bolton, CEO of TechRescue, a fast-growing, fast-scaling SaaS company delivering human-first tech support to seniors and small businesses. With soaring subscribers and strong margins, Andrew scaled startups and conquered Wall Street, but knows he's at 70%. He's here to break through, to scale without bottlenecking, and to become the future CEO, leading to a $100 million exit and #1 brand in emotional tech support. And best of all, he used to be a wrestler. So we can talk a bit of martial arts mindset right now in this conversation. Andrew, welcome. Tell us
Thank
a
you.
bit
Thank
more
you for
about
having me.
tech. Beautiful having you. Tell us a bit more about the company. How did you come up with the concept? And by the way, like I mentioned in the messages, I absolutely love the photo of you and your grandmother on the website. Your business has a lot of soul.
Well, it was built for her, actually. My grandmother, like many, many seniors in the United States and around the world, got introduced to Facebook when their grandchildren started introducing it to them. She recently passed, 97, strong-willed Irish Catholic woman, drank rare breed, wild turkey, 101 proof. That was her go-to. She drank nothing but coffee and whiskey, and we always used to make the joke that she didn't have blood; she had ethanol. And she drank her whiskey up until the hospital, until she was finally, put into terminal care. And, she died a couple of days later, but she was still drinking whiskey up until then. So, they don't make them like they used to.
How old was she?
97. 97 and drinking up to almost the day she died.
Now, there's a life hack if I heard one.
Oh, yeah. Whiskey. Everybody, 100 proof. Keeps you young. She was enthralled with Facebook. She loved the concept. She never really understood Instagram. She never really got big into that, but she liked Facebook. It was simple. It was easy. There were these groups. There were these channels.
Right.
She was really big into genealogy. This was a hobby that she took up in her late 50s, going to the Library of Congress, going to the New York Public Library, and doing the research and traveling around the world. She went up to Bolton Lake, our family's landing site when we came over from Ireland. So the family split it into basically 3 sections when it left Clifton and Dublin, Ireland. Portion of the family landed in New York, going through Ellis Island. The other portion of the family landed through went through Canada and came down through the Dakota regions, where one of my great ancestors was a gunslinger. So we have some interesting bloodlines, but we would constantly be getting phone calls, friend requests, what's messaging, how do I what is a like, what is a hashtag?
Right,
These
right, right.
conversations happen all the time, until finally one day, about 2.5 years ago, my mother and I were in the kitchen having coffee, and my father comes in and asks, how do you how will you forward an email? And I looked at him and I went, what do you mean, how do you forward an email? Dad,
Right.
you've been around since internet was invented and computers. Like, how do you not know how to forward an email? And he got frustrated. My father's 77, and he goes, forget about it. I went, no, Dad, come on. I'll show you how to do it. I come back, I sit down, my mother's having her coffee, and I went, there's got to be a better way to do this. There has to be something out there. And she goes, is there? And I went, I don't know. So I pulled out what we all have, this magical device that is more potent power computing skills than the computers that sent Neil Armstrong up into space, right? Your phone is more powerful than the NASA computers that sent the first lunar landing.
Yeah.
There was nothing out there. And she looked at me and she goes, how would you do it? That's an interesting question. So I sat back, had a sip of coffee, and one of the jokes in my family from my days at grad school is that every room in the house has whiteboard markers, whiteboard or white markers in it, somewhere in the house. There's always the living room, the whiteboard's underneath the couch. In the kitchen, it's slid right in between the microwave and the cabinet. And then our steel refrigerator has turned into a whiteboard. And so I said, give me a minute, and started doodling on the refrigerator. And I went, all right. And she goes, okay. Write it up. And so I did. I wrote a business plan. She goes, all right, how long? I went, I have no idea. Well, we wrote up the business plan. We started asking around. We did some trial runs. We did some things. And the nursing home that my grandmother was staying at, prior to her hospitalization, partnered with us. Absolutely free of charge. And we got our first set of data points. And where we had the assumptions, yes, there was Bluetooth connectivities, there was Roku problems, there was Dish Network, AT&T, Verizon, Comcast issues, internet issues. And then what we started finding out, which was interesting, and I wrote an article not too long ago about it, was seniors were playing video games.
Yeah, of course.
I wasn't expecting the phone calls on Fortnite. I wasn't expecting calls on Call of Duty. I wasn't expecting calls on, how do I change my skins?
Yeah.
Now, mind you, my call center is in the Carolinas, and I wrote the standard operating procedures from Mac and Windows. I bought the standard operating procedures for the 2020, 2022, and I wrote the different ones to send to the BPO, send to our call center agents who are 24 hours a day. And anything that's new, I get, and I have to write the standard operating procedures. I was not expecting some of the things that I was getting. I was shocked. I was baffled. And I'm not a gamer. So now I have to call my best friend who lives up in Boston, who's a huge gamer. And I'm like, you got to help me on this. And he goes, all right, what are the questions? And he starts writing how to do these things for these games. So I hired him to work in the company too, because I'm dealing with things that I had no idea what I was going to be. So it's amazing what you don't know until you don't know it.
Yeah, and it's always like a huge opportunity, like a huge leap forward. I can relate. The first time my mother started using Facebook, she tagged me in a photo with Michael Jordan. I mean, the resemblance is obvious, right? So it's a huge service, and when I saw it, I was like, okay, this is very unique and very cool. What I'm really enjoying about your energy is that you obviously come from a bloodline of badasses.
JJ Bartlett,
And
very happy to hear that.
and especially your mother's approach to challenging you and like, hey, how would you solve it? Yeah, how long? Get it done. That is so cool. Like A-grade parenting right there. And what I appreciate is that you're also leading with kindness, right? Because I noticed that that's the brand of like, it's on the website, right? It's one of your values.
Can I talk on that?
Yes.
So I want this to really, I really want to drive this in. We as a company take that very seriously. So one of the things that I told my project manager who runs my call center and the 15 people that work for us 24 hours a day, three shifts. The very, very first thing in red lettering when you open up the folder, the binder, that's the standard operating procedure, is that there's the cover sheet, and on the very next page, it's only this in red letters. Every phone call is somebody's most important person in their life. We're the difference between what you're getting now on the phone, which is an AI bot, press 1 for English, 2 for Spanish, a maze of press 1 for this, 2 for that, 3 for that, 4 for that. No. I've gotten frustrated. My mother has gotten frustrated. My grandmother has pulled out whatever hair that she had left at the time. That when you're calling somebody because you're frustrated and you need to have a problem solved, whether it's your banking, whether that's your insurance, whether that's a leak in the house, you're calling somebody because you want to have somebody answer the phone and say, "Hey, how can I help you today?" I got insulted when I heard one of my board of advisors say, we're charging a premium service. And I said, no, help is not a premium service. Help is not a premium service. What's next? Charging, per minute at 911? No. When you call me, you're frustrated. And that's the one thing that when we're recruiting and we're hiring people in our call centers is that I don't want to hear good calls. I want them to take only the frustrated, the annoyed, the angry, or the confused, and they don't know, because those are the calls that matter the most, right? It's easy to have a great phone call, right? It's easy.
Yeah.
I want you to deal with somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. I want you to deal with somebody who gets really frustrated, because they're not understanding the language that you're using. That's where I measure your success. That's where I measure our benchmark, is how do we handle that call when you have somebody that just doesn't know anything and they're frustrated because they don't know anything. I want you to take care of them like they're your special person, because somebody signed them up because they care enough. That, to me, is the most important thing. That's somebody's special someone. And that's in big, bold letters in that binder. That's the second page after our cover sheet, is every call is important because that's somebody's special someone. Period. End of discussion.
I love that, and that's why I say your company has soul, and it shows. It's like clear as day. And I was thinking now, like when you were sharing this, your company is a huge launch pad for people who want to get into negotiating. For example, get really really good at negotiating, because let's say like you're dealing with people who are frustrated and angry every day, and you get to calm them down and find a solution, right? A win-win. That's a hugely valuable skill, like for anyone joining your team.
I never even thought of looking at it like that. Wow. Okay.
I would even like, for the ones who are A players, who are extremely ambitious.
These are
this is going to be recorded. It's going to be recorded. I'm sending it to you. But for people, that's how I would see it. Like when, let's say your HR is hiring somebody who has a lot of promise, who is an A player, a lot of business owners are afraid that they're going to leave and start their own business. No, that's a huge selling point. Like, somebody who's very driven, like, look, this person like John, he learned negotiating, he learned sales, he learned, how to deal with people, very difficult situations. And then he started his own company and did this, and that, right? Somebody who's a high performer, they will give you, let's say they stay with you for 2 years, they start their own company afterwards. And those 2 years, because you gave them that story right off the bat, they will go above and beyond because they want to absorb everything.
So let me ask you a question. As a business owner, if I don't want to lose that kind of talent, right? How can I don't want to be negative on it. I don't want to say control it or capitalize on it, but I'm a business owner. I'm selfish. I don't want to lose great talent. Is it just part of the process? Like,
that's a great question. That's a very, very powerful question, and the answer is easy, right? Let's say you have a, for lack of a better example, a soccer team, right, or a basketball team, right,
Okay.
and you have the main player. There's no way you can control keeping that main player, right? So maybe they leave, maybe something happens, maybe they get injured. You're gonna lose them anyway. So the only thing that you can do is set up the environment at a macro and micro level to attract a certain type of person, or rather that a certain only specific type of person will flourish in that environment. What do I mean? Company culture, you have that on point. Secondly, is getting very, very detailed in terms of the role, what it actually requires, how do you spot the person for that role, and basically creating the biome for a person like that to flourish. Because once they leave, then it's relatively easy to attract somebody very, very much like them, right? Even getting down to their personality, what do you call them? Like doing personality tests.
See, I don't know whether or not you have this problem where you are, but here in America, from us at least, we have a talent problem. We have, for lack of a better word, I'm trying to think of I'm try to be polite about this, but
Oh, don't.
oh, we have crap talent.
Well,
In all honesty, hand on the Bible, swear on my mother's name, I am afraid for this generation that is leaving college and the ones that are in high school right now, because I'll be
yeah,
honest with you, their aptitude tests are absolutely garbage. Their personality skills are absolutely atrocious. Their phone skills are horrible. I have no, and I say this, you know, in almost a plea to the world in the universe listening. I have no use for the entire lot of them.
yeah,
From the graduating class of 2022 minus 6 years now in advance, I have no use for these individuals whatsoever. They have no skills applicable to our business,
yes, it is the case
and they're
all
not
over the
coachable.
world.
They
It's
don't
the
want to be
case all
coached.
over.
That's the other thing. They don't want to be coached.
Yeah, it's definitely the case all over the world because everybody wants to be a YouTuber slash influencer these days, right? Nobody wants a 9 to 5. But at let me ask you this: Are you your team? Are you limited by geography? Like, do they need to be in a physical office, or can you hire all around the world for
We
these
can
specific roles?
for for the call center, we can hire remotely anywhere. And where we've found a great opportunity is everything about our company is American. American made, American served, American serviced.
Yep.
And that's great for right now. I know that because we are in a global market and because of the tariffs and everything, we're staying home based right now, as we discussed earlier before the recording. You know, the tariffs that have been placed by the United States has limited our opportunity for growth because I just don't have the answers, and there's no projection model that I can create that can determine off of one man's tweet. I don't have that ability.
Got
So
it.
right now we're circling the wagons and making sure that our home base is protected. So
Perfect.
yes, can we expand worldwide? Absolutely, and we do a plan to. But with what we're trying to protect ourselves right now in these turbulent times is we can find remote workers anywhere in the United States, Canada. The issue that we're having is one, nobody's applying to the jobs at the price that we're paying, which is our call center's minimum. And our company, so our call center is a massive conglomerate, right? And they have their own standard practices for what they do. We as a company who outsource to them in America have our own structure, our own benefits, and our own ladder tiers. I pay for good work, right? I'm one of these people that studied in business that you pay for talent, right? I'm not going to hold and
Let
hoard.
me because
Okay.
with the internet, the whole world is dealing with the same challenge of, 20-year-olds who are unqualified. And it's not necessarily their fault. They're learning nothing in school, like literally nothing,
I,
versus,
I I've seen the homework
and
assignments.
they're stepping into a world that just doesn't make sense for them. It's like you told me the world is this, and I know it's totally different. So they're still kind of finding their footing. At the same time, right? If you use Go High Level, they have this Zoom team, massive Zoom team that you join, support team. You join the support call. They're very well educated, very polite, very on point, right? So there's people and people. Now the difference is, are you people today versus like 40, 50 years ago, high performers need a mission. They need a target. They need a destination. They need to know that they're making a difference somehow in the world.
Hmm.
So my question to you is, when you're putting out a job offer, are you talking about the company vision? Are you talking about why you started the company, your story as a founder? Are you talking about the values and positioning those values as benefits of being in the company, right? For example, value of leading with kindness, right? You could even play with that and turn it around like, look, if you want to be successful in life, you need to learn how to deal with difficult people. You have to learn how to negotiate. We teach you all of these skills so that you either can grow within our company or do whatever you like with your lives, right? So the job description needs to be set up in such a way where people buy in. They, it attracts amazing people. We were talking about Microsoft, or before, like, having a computer in your pocket. Microsoft's big vision was a computer on every desk. This attracted very, very smart and very high level people that were passionate about the vision statement. Same with SpaceX, right? It's not we're building rockets, it's we're creating an interplanetary species. So this world changing vision statement, this needs to be the first thing that they see in the job application. And
So
this will attract.
one of my marketing
Yeah.
team members came up with something clever.
Mm-hmm.
We're putting the human back in technology.
Good. I like that. I
I,
like that. Now,
I heard that and that popped.
yeah, it's very good. Here's what's missing.
Okay.
That's the human backend technology. That's the vehicle. What's the destination, right? So here's what I mean. Like,
Mm.
building an interplanetary species paints a picture of a destination, of an exciting future, right?
Mm.
Okay, you put the human backend technology. So what? Then what? Right?
Then what?
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
what's
Where are we going?
exactly how is the world going to be better thanks to you putting the human back in technology? Mm.
Right off the top of my head is that we finally just start solving problems. We've created an environment with artificial intelligence and chatbots and all these things. I constantly get emails through my spam blockers, but I get these companies saying we can optimize your company, by saving you 30% or whatever percentage, with chatbots and things like that. I'm not looking to save money. I'm looking to start. I'm looking to put back the time spent on this. Really and truly, how much? Think of a normal situation. You and somebody are having a disagreement. You're going back and forth texting. All right. All right. I'll tell you a personal situation. I'm currently, personally, I'm in a rocky situation with somebody I'm intimate with. They live a very, very long distance away. And I know that I can solve these past weeks of problems if I just got on a plane, head over there, bang on the door, and say, let's sit down, cup of coffee,
Talk.
let's talk this out.
Yeah.
I don't need bots to tell me optimization. I don't need a chat to do all these things. I know that if I put somebody on the phone with
Right.
somebody
So
calling,
here's
boom.
here's an idea, right? My vision statement is empower entrepreneurs, eliminate poverty, right? Simple, shareable, easy to remember, easy to understand. What, like, from the outside, and feel free to play with this. What
Oh,
the problem
please.
I feel you're solving is solving loneliness, solving isolation, right? So
Oh,
it could
keep
be
cooking. Cooking. This is turning my head upside down.
exactly right. So it could be like solving loneliness or solving isolation by putting the human back in technology. This is a huge problem in the world right now.
Oh my God, we have completely turned ourselves into zombies. Zombies. I see it. I see it when I fly. I see it when I travel. I travel for work. I have my sales team out in Verona, California. I've got my development team in Las Vegas. I got my call centers in the Carolinas. When I'm in the airport, all I do is just see this. No,
Exactly.
nobody's even looking outside at the beautiful sky or California, sunshine, palm trees.
Yeah.
Everybody.
The difference between like our age when we're looking at phones and comparing ourselves with other people and our parents and grandparents, they're not using their phones to look to to be on
No.
Instagram and feel insecure. They're lonely. That's why they're using their phones, right? So that's the problem you're solving. Like maybe it's a bit wordy, but I would say
No, I like I like
solving
I like where your head's at because it's
exactly.
it's
Yep.
making me. I know my business inside and out. I know every one of my competitors. I know exactly what they had for breakfast because I'm obsessed. I have to be.
Yeah.
I've never even looked at my company that way.
Exactly. Well, here's the thing, like it's a very human thing to be exceptionally good at solving these aspects for others, but kind of neglecting doing the same thing for yourself or not being able to do the same thing for yourself. But like imagine this, you're looking for a job, you feel very isolated and alone, as a 25-year-old or 24-year-old, and the first thing you see is solving loneliness and isolation by putting the human back in technology. You're like, "Pah!" It hits you to your core. And I was like, what? What
You
is
just
this
made my
company
head.
about?
Huh. So we're not a technology company. We're a health company.
Yes.
Ooh. Please don't make me change my business cards. Please don't make me change. I am not. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm not changing my website for the seventh time. Do you know how expensive this stuff starts to get? Oh my. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Okay. We're a mental health company. Okay. All right. Wow. That. Hmm.
Yes.
We
You're cooking. You're cooking, yeah.
we solve isolationism by putting the human back in technology.
Isolationism is a bit of a
It's
wordy
chewy.
word.
It's chewy. Yeah, I know it's chewy.
Yeah,
I'm
something simple, easy to share.
Well, that's why I hired a marketing team.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best things, and you mentioned it, is one of the lessons I learned from one of many of the things I've read is that I'm not going to sit there and pretend I know what I don't know. That's why I hire
Mm.
people. I hire people to do exactly what they know how to do and what they like to do. That's what I
Yeah.
look for. If for my sales team, what made me go with Rockford Hunt and his team was that when he pitched me, he asked me, "What is it that you're looking to do and why?" And I told him, and he goes, "Okay." I can sell that. I can sell
Yep.
that.
Yes.
And I had a lot of sales teams talk to me about their statistics, but what got me was the fact that he listened and he likes what he does and he's good at what he does. So I take a hands-off approach. I don't micromanage. I trust you to do the job that you say you can do because you tell me you like doing it. If you like doing something, you're going to be exceptional at it because you enjoy doing it. And I like where we're going with this. I'm not a great marketer. I'm not one of those type of people, but
You don't have to be a great marketer. You're
I
an
just wow, that's just making my head spin now.
you're a heavy hitter. You're somebody who sees things that most people miss. And right now, like with the shift that I notice in you, your hits just became a lot heavier.
I'll I was on a podcast and it was Hard Hat the CEO because I worked in construction. I was a mason. I did stone and block, and one of the questions that he asked me was, what's it like to be the CEO? And he goes, and I went, I don't wish it on anybody. I don't wish this on anybody. You want to have agita, stomach problems, drink gallons of Pepto Bismol, start a company because I'll be honest with you. It's easy to wake up, clock in, go to the job, and just do what you're told to do, to the specifications. When you're the one in charge of everything, oh, 3 days up straight is not an abnormal thing every once in a
This is a
while.
conversation. This is a conversation for another time. But here's one insight that I learned from martial arts. Like, and anybody can do listening to this can do it, right? If you just focus on your head right now, you're gonna notice that there's a lot of stress, tension, pressure, right? Whereas if you all of a sudden go slowly and you focus in your dantian, in your center point right below the belly button, and you just visualize there and you're focused there, all of a sudden you feel a sense of confidence and calm and balance. Because basically what's happening, you activate the intelligence of wherever you are focused. So if you're focused in your head, you're using a very small percentage of your intelligence, of your capacity. Every cell is kind of like a microprocessor. But when you are focused in your center, you're activating your body's full intelligence. So all of a sudden you have a lot more computing power. The system is not overloaded. So taking that concept into business, taking that same idea, what you want is to create a system where you activate each of the cells in the business, each of the microprocessors, and distribute, let's say, 50, 70%, not necessarily of the decision making, but of the responsibility in a smart way, right? Again, it's a conversation for another time. But when you start activating these microprocessors in your whole business, and all of a sudden the whole team is thinking of different ways, new ways, better ways to optimize, to systemize, to push the boundary, to grow the business, right? To get closer to the vision statement, to the mission. All of a sudden, as the CEO, you don't have all of that weight on your shoulders because you're using your full... You're using all the intelligence you have access to.
To be honest with you, I try to just keep it as simple as possible. I'm just trying to make somebody's day a little bit better. My mother, and my grandmother taught me some very, very valuable lessons in life. The first one being is God's got a bigger shovel than you. So when you do
Exactly.
good,
Exactly.
you get it back. The second thing I was always taught is have a number inside your head. Keep to that number because my grandmother used to say anything other than that is just showing off. I mean, think about it. Why do you need a $500 million yacht that you don't even use?
Yeah. Well, you don't have a yacht until you have to move a bridge, disassemble a bridge just to
Oh,
take
get
your
it through.
yacht out
Get
into
it
the
through the other
yeah.
side. Yeah, yeah. Um,
That's the new standard now.
yeah, it is. Perfect. To be honest with you, I'm perfectly fine with my family's little sunfish on the lake.
Exactly.
Somebody, what? So, you're obviously somebody that studied the laws of power.
I haven't read the book.
Oh, it is a fantastic book if you use it the right way, right? So rule number
Mm,
47, know your exit, right? Know when to go. So I have this
mm,
number in my head. It's a simple number. It's not crazy. It's not big. And all I want to do is just sit back, go fishing, go and just enjoy the sunshine. Because I got a good piece of advice, right? Somebody asked me, if you could do anything you want for the rest of your life, what would you do? And I said, really, absolutely nothing. I don't want to work anymore. And he goes,
yeah.
okay, why do we work? I don't know, to pay bills and things like that. He goes, no, so one day you don't have to work.
Right.
And I went, so he goes, if you can pay for yourself and pay for everything, what does that make you? I went, I don't know. He goes, retired. You're
Mm,
done. The point,
yep.
think about this, right? Why do we work? So that one day we can save up enough money so one day we don't have to work. And I went, oh my gosh, is it really that simple? He goes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went,
Exactly.
huh.
Exactly.
And it's true. Sometimes the answers are staring us right in the face and we're just too involved to see them.
But it's not always the case, right? If I may challenge that a bit. Because if that were completely true, then none of us would be building companies. None of us would be building anything. We don't just, go to work to be able to not work one day. We're going to work because we want to make a difference, because we want to spread more kindness, because we want to bring the human back into tech, because we want to solve isolation and loneliness. To me, I grew up like I would ask my mother for like a croissant or some shit like that, some sweets. And like, okay, when we have money. But that was like the thing in
Oh,
my
I know,
household. When we're
I
gonna
know,
have,
I know that feeling.
right? So that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, because I know what it's like. Let's solve bigger problems than not having money, in the world.
You know, I'm gonna poke a bear a little bit, but
Hmm.
I think Facebook, as much as I love it and it's a core of my business, I think Facebook is and not the idea itself. All right, not the bridging of worlds and not the introduction of people across the planet. The company itself, when it was started and how it was started and everything else like that. That is what I think sent our world, our society, into a tailspin, right? So if we look at, like, if you watch the movie, right, The Social Network,
Right.
a bunch of kids come up with this crazy idea. Wall Street looks at it and goes, fantastic, we'll pay you for it. And they did. Well, going up to grad school at Harvard, all you saw at Harvard were kids with ideas and trying to chase venture capital. There's an entire wing called the startup wing, right? And it's a section in Harvard where all these tech and all these different companies that are starting in school have an incubator. It's an incubator lab, right? So there's pitch days, there's development days, and you have all these kids who are learning at a young age not how to solve a problem, but how to become excessively rich. Because
Hmm.
Zuckerberg did it, and
Mm.
that one word, and I hate that word. It's one word that drives me nuts. It's the B word, billions. When
Right.
that word got introduced to the venture capital world in technology and startup world, everybody was chasing that word. I worked for a company up in Boston up until about 2020, about 2018 to 2020. What it was a heat index map that did predictabilities off of incidences. So it was a closed ECN network that took incident reports from police, from private networks, from private security, from military organizations, and what it did was it created a probability map that if you go down this road that there's a 30% chance of a mortar strike, or if you go here there's a 50% chance of a robbery. And it was a great concept. It wasn't built yet. Our venture capital and our investment banker at the time, at the height of just before COVID hit, gave us a valuation, and the word B was put in there. Now, young kids out of Harvard and scattered throughout the Boston school system was the company, including myself as the head of sales. I had a small little fraction of the company, and to me, equity didn't mean anything because I went to school. I understood that this was all paper money. This was all fictitious. The attitudes that changed as soon as that valuation dropped cannibalized ourselves. Well, they're worth 20 million, they're worth 50 million, they're worth 30 million, they're worth 100 million, and all of a sudden there's this idea that there's this money in a bank account that's now being dished out, and now you're looking at somebody like, oh, I promised you, in your contract 0.0, whatever percentage. That is what I think killed a lot of creativity, is that, and not even so much creativity, what you talked about, doing good. Why am I doing good when I can get paid?
Right. So here's what I'm hearing from what you just shared.
And I get, and hold on, let me. I know, now I'm assuming, but I'm jumping. The problem that I'm facing with our talent pool and getting into this conversation is now letting me think about this a little bit differently. And thank you for that. Is that I don't need to ask the questions that I'm asking. I need to be asking different questions because the people that I'm getting is what's in it for me.
Exactly.
And I'm not getting what can I contribute.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why your story is so pivotal in the job application, because believe it or not, there's an abundance of people who want to give back, who want to make a difference, right? And just like everything in life, there's a yin and yang to everything. But right now, however your systems are set up, they're attracting the what's in it for me, or like the vast majority of people who are like still kind of, in the let me be an influencer, let me have billions culture. But what I'm hearing from what you just shared, and maybe the reason why it is so frustrating, because what I'm hearing is you really, really value the best of human nature, and it really pisses you off when you see the worst of human nature.
I mean, I get it. Listen, the world is a different place. I will be the first one to admit it. I'm a 90s baby. I mean, I grew up with Johnny Bravo, Angry Beavers, Dragon Ball Z. I mean, I grew up, I think, in the height of bottle rockets, firecrackers, cherry bombs, and ditching school and just shenanigans. We didn't care about consequences because we were living in the moment. And here I see a problem. I see a problem in the world that we need help. And I'm looking for people that are not looking at what is in it for me, because if you have enough experience in life, you know that hard work eventually does pay off when you put it in the right place. Yes, hard work and smart work go hand in hand. And yes, with enough grit and determination, yeah, you can dig a tunnel with a shovel. You can. But why would you? You can ask for help.
Again, to kind of challenge this a bit more, I have a friend who is also like a coach consultant here in Romania. He used to be in the dating space. He started.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, he pivoted and he started helping other consultants with starting their businesses. There was this 17-year-old kid who was following him. This kid messaged him and said, "Dude, I really love what you do. I want to work for you for free. Whatever it takes, I want in." took him under his wing. In 2 or 3 years, he became a copywriter and started his own business, and now he's doing his own thing, right? And this was like the guy was born in, I don't know, 2000, 2005, like very recent, right? So what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying is there are these people in whatever generation you like, right? These people are there. What matters is what is the first touch point with your business, right? Are you triggering the right thing for them to say, hey, I love this. I want to be in. Because hard work, smart work means nothing without a target, without a direction, right? So if the direction isn't inspiring or they don't know what that direction is, they're not going to be putting in either hard or smart work, right? They have to believe in the thing that they're building.
We're not
Beautiful.
we're not saying what we really want to do.
Exactly. You're not leading with that.
Because I'm smart enough. I'm not smart enough as an over compliment to myself, but I'm smart enough to know that I can't get there without the right people. I know that, and
No.
I know that, and the certain people that I'm looking for, they care, and
Yes.
we're in a society, in a world where caring and having having sympathy and empathy, considers you weak or considers you, well, that's not, that's not trendy, or that's not the point. I'm
I
not
don't
looking
agree.
for
I
trendiness.
I honestly don't agree because, like I said, for every yin, there's a yang.
Yes.
Yes, we see a lot more of what's in it for me and let me get this, let me make a ton of money. Yes, it is a lot more in the forefront. But like everything, that needs to be counterbalanced. And the balance is there, we just don't see it, right? It's not as loud. But that's the thing, kindness is quiet most of the time.
I'm not
Real
saying,
kindness, you know? So they're there.
and I'm not saying what I really want to say.
Mm, yeah. Beautiful. Andrew, what would you say is your most valuable insight from our episode today?
That I'm clearly not stating the objective of the company.
What do you think is going to happen when you start doing that?
Oh, I think we're going to pivot completely. We're growing, and I don't. And what's frustrating is I know we have the from the phone calls, because I listen to the samples. I get one out of every 100 calls to sample pool every one of our people. There is this starvation of not just help, right? They're calling because they know that there's somebody there, right? Our name
Yeah.
says it all. 24-hour support, TechRescue. You call us, we are here to help you. People are starving for connectivity. They're starving for interaction. And you pointed it out. We're not a technology company. We are a health company. In a way, we're a health company. And I didn't
You
see it.
are.
And I didn't see it because technology is what we're working with, right? These are the tools in our toolbox. But what I didn't see is that it's not a mechanic's toolbox. It's a goddamn medical bag.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Right. But don't change the website yet.
No,
Yes.
no,
Don't.
no, 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 no. But no, what I'm getting, what I'm going to be taking away from this is, one, we're clearly not saying what it is that we want to do, because yes, I've been focused on technology because that's what we do, but that's not what we do. There's an underlying, as you mentioned, there's an underlying theme that's not being shouted. It's getting missed. Is that I'm looking for people that want to help.
Yes.
I'm looking for people that want to help other people. And how we do that is through technology. There it is. We help other people. We help people with people through technology. Ooh.
I'm liking it. Mm-hmm.
We
We
help
help
people
people
with
with
people
people through
through
technology.
technology.
Not bad. Not bad.
Because
Again,
I've listened to some of the phone calls. I've listened to some of the interview phone calls on the pitches. They know this, they know that, they know this, they know JavaScript, they know all these different coding things. And their personality skills are awful.
to slow you down a bit more. It's really good. Like I really love it. The same challenge arises of we help people with people through technology, but then the question arises, to do what? So it still needs that destination to anchor, like the how you're changing the world element to it, but it's still good. It has soul. The sentence has soul. This is not easy to do, by the way, but it's so powerful because once you have it, you have that north star, and then nothing stops you.
Hey, listen,
And
I can't figure out where I'm going unless I turn on a light, and it's a dim one, but we turned one on.
oh, it's not them. It's not them. You're just not sharing it with the world.
I know
It's
if we
not
did, like,
focused.
I know, like
It
what
it's
we're
not
doing right now.
focused.
I think right now what we're doing together is we're rediscovering ourselves.
Yes. Yes. But you said it right. It's not just a tech. Maybe it's not even just a health company. Maybe it's not just a tech company. Maybe it's something even better. But you're definitely closer to knowing who you are, and that feels really really good, right?
At the end of the day, really and truly, at the end of the day, I just want to make Grandma proud, and I want her to look back and say, "We did good work." Money does not, and I'm not trying to be, and I'm not trying to be
This
obnoxious.
let me stop you there.
Yeah,
This, Andrew, this is what you should be talking about in all of your interviews. Like, why are you doing this? You know what? I just want my grandmother to be proud. This is so real, so authentic, and so much you. I would start all of your shows with that. All of your communications, like even like, until like as long as it feels real and authentic. Maybe if you say it too many times, it's either going to get stale or
oh
it's
no
going to
no no
get
no 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 no!
more real and more
Oh,
authentic,
it doesn't get more
right?
authentic than that because my grandma would kick the living crap out of me. She would not care if I was a billionaire. You don't understand. This woman was deadly with a rolling pin, like a sniper marine with a rolling pin. And my grandmother would not care if I was a billionaire. She would not care one bit, no matter how big a house or what car I drove. If I didn't do, if I didn't leave my mark in the good
Mm,
work, she would not even be impressed. All right, cool. You have $1 billion, but what good did you do to the rest of the world? What did you leave behind?
exactly.
To her, that was important. And I know it's silly. To her, the genealogy books that she created, they're very small, simple things. But to our family, that she bridged generational gaps between Canada, the United States, Dublin, Scotland, parts of England. All of our families got this when she completed the work. It was a thick, bounded leather book like this.
Mm,
Her mark on the family was that we now know who we all are to each other. Generations of people that I've never even heard of. We're from the same bloodline. That was her legacy. As simple and easy as it is, she left a mark on good work. She bridged a family together. I have contacts over in Scotland I've never met that I'm still trying to plan a vacation with my mother to go finally introduce ourselves.
so these are actually some of your values as an entity, right? Like you said, bridging the gap between people.
Oh, I like that.
Yes, this is a
Yeah.
huge value because there is a chasm right now between most of us, right?
Yeah.
knowing who you are is also a huge value for you, and I can see why you're really loving this conversation because it's bringing forth more of that. But yeah, we are definitely getting closer and closer to the actual difference that you're making in the world. And that's basically it, right? You're solving isolation, you're solving, this gap between people and loneliness. It's kind of the same thing. So it could even be bridging the gap between people
I just
using
want to make somebody's day a
technology.
little. I'm just looking to make somebody's day a little bit better. How can I help you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, when
Mm-hmm.
I first started manning the phones, I still have my dusted headset right here. This is my dusty headset from
Yeah.
when we first started this. I keep it here because I'll still get on a phone if I have to. I just, if I could just make your day a little bit better on a 20-minute phone call, just think about anybody else's life. Paying for somebody's coffee or, just letting somebody, whatever, go through the door first. The simplest little things you don't know somebody's day. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know, what it is that they have. And if you can just simply hey, how can I help?
Yeah.
You don't know what impact you're having on that person. And it could be the difference between somebody going down a rabbit hole that continues, or you literally just stop them and say, hey, how can I help you today? And you made their day that much better. That's all we're trying to do. It's just, I have it. I'm just trying to make the world a little bit better one phone call at a time. That we have so much stuff going on. I think we've all forgotten the fact that we're all here together. Why are we getting rowdy with each other? I'm just trying to help. Let me do my
Let's
part. Let me do
let's
my part to make the world just a little bit better. Just
let's
a,
let's write down making the world just a little bit better, one phone call at a time. Just a little bit better, one phone call at a time. I think that's going to attract some very interesting people in your space.
yeah. I don't mind paying
Beautiful.
money. At the end of the day, what's money? It's paper.
Yeah.
It's a nothing. It's a nothing. How you see them on TV? How many of these celebrities they've got this house, this mansion, that mansion, and they're all miserable. They're all miserable. Money doesn't make you happy. Money's never going to make you happy. Yeah, does it buy you opportunities? Yeah, does it buy you some time? But what are you going to do with that time? What are you going to do with that? I learned these lessons a long time ago. I was a little bit personal background. Yeah, I worked on Wall Street. I was a derivatives trader. I specialized in banking and technology. When the financial crisis was happening, we were trading BIPs on Bank of America, and we were making more money than at 21 years old. I was making $15,000 a day within an hour.
Yeah.
I was the worst version of myself. My mother couldn't stand me because I was literally and this is where that generation comes from. Who are you to tell me what I can and can't do when I make your month's salary in 30 seconds? Who are you to tell me anything?
And that's where the rolling pin came out.
Oh, I got my ass smacked. My mother don't care how much money I had. She still smacked the dog crap out of me. So did my grandmother. I knew I was in trouble when my grandmother told me I wasn't welcome to dinner. Oh yeah. And guess what happened? I burnt out. Drugs and, the Wall Street life. I burnt out. I went to grad school. From there, I learned a little bit more about technology and business and learning a little bit. And yeah, I went down further a little bit of a rabbit hole because I was playing on a whole new level. And then finally, when that blew up in my face, when I lost millions a second time, I realized that money doesn't really mean anything. You can lose it like that. But you
Yeah.
can't lose? Your integrity.
Yeah.
You can't lose that if you defend it and you guard it and you protect it and you share it. And I think we just got to the door that we're trying to open making the world a little bit better, one phone call at a time. I'm just trying to make the world a little bit better place because I've been on the other side, and I can tell you right now, it's shallow, it's hollow, it's empty, it's cold, and I've been wealthy. I will say I've been wealthy, and I didn't like myself. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I got some great pictures. I got some wild stories, but you know what's funny? I haven't heard from any of those people that I was in the trenches with. I haven't heard from
Yeah.
any one of them. So it shows you there's no loyalty in it. There's no commitment to it because money doesn't buy commitment. A
Well,
purpose.
at the end of the day, if you don't like yourself from that period of your life, anyone you knew back then just reminds you of that version of you, and you just want to stay away from it, especially if you've learned your lessons. So
I like to
it's
think. I like to
natural.
think I have.
It's natural. Andrew, I absolutely love your energy. I love your mission, your company, your soul, everything that you're doing. And I would, exactly what you shared right now, I would just take this and put this, hey, here's what I don't want you to know about me, or here's how I ended up being this. I've had the money, I've had the that, I had the that, I didn't like myself, I would put that in the job description, as crazy as it sounds. And guess who you're not going to attract? The what's in it for me, the I'm chasing billions, the bum bum bum, right? You're going to attract the right people, the people who really value what you stand for. And once
Yeah,
they see that, that's exactly what they're going to sign up for, right? This, exactly what you just shared. This.
I'm looking for
Um,
people that want to make the world a better place.
yes. And there's plenty of us out there. Beautiful. Guys, absolutely check out Andrew's company. Yes, TechRescue. I
Wow,
will.
I just went to corporate therapy. Wow, we just
Well,
we just went to corporate therapy.
this is just scratching the surface because there's a lot more in there that we haven't touched upon, but
Oh
we
yeah,
don't, we literally don't have time. But I commend you. It takes a lot of guts to be on this show or to a show like this, and how open you are. And
I look at it this way.
yeah,
I took it as this. I've got nothing to lose. I've got nothing to lose to listen to somebody, listen to our company, listen to our story. What is it that we're trying to do? And say, yeah, you're just not singing in the right tune.
dude, I just had somebody who signed up for the show and they didn't know what it was about. I said, hey, here's what the show is. And they're like, uh, I don't get coached. He said this, I coach, I don't get coached. I'm in my 70s, I'm pretty set in my ways. And I shared this with my clients, like what this guy said. And one of my clients is in her 60, she's like 65. And she's like, what is this guy talking about? I'm learning all the time. Right? It's just like, it is the ego. It's like you're leading your company with your ego. Don't, right? Lead it with your heart. And fun things happen.
I, if we could accomplish, if what we try to do is what we can accomplish, which is making somebody's day a little bit better, you know, that's gonna, that's gonna push things forward because somebody who feels good that somebody helped them, I know for a fact, I've seen it with my own eyes in real life. When somebody does something good for somebody else, a good deed never goes untouched.
Yeah.
It's a domino
Yeah.
effect. And I have the privilege, it is a privilege, to have at least 15 people on the phone, and God, I hope I can get a lot more. 15 good people that are doing good work every day, and I hope that we can actually just just push the needle just a little bit in the opposite direction because
Oh,
boy,
it's 100% doable. It's like 6 to 12 months. It's more than
God,
achievable,
we really need,
doable.
we really, really need to start doing good around the world.
Hmm.
There's just too much. Like I can't. I don't want to get too depressed, but I just looking at it, I'm like something's got to change. And you know what? This conversation, I want. If I have to be the first one publicly to shout at the top of the world that I want to do good, then so be it. I'm shouting out from the top of the world from here on in. I mean, we never really were focused on the money, but now that we have a sharper image of what we're trying to accomplish, and I'm going to work with my team on how to take what you taught me and try to make that more of our mission statement and more of our battle
Yeah,
plan, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're
perfect.
going to do. We are going to charge headfirst into this. And the first one through the wall is always the messiest, but you know what? Somebody's got to do it.
Yes, 100%. Beautiful. Andrew, beautiful having you today. I look
Thank you
forward
so much. This,
to
this, this serendipity. Honestly, serendipity.
100%. I look forward to circling back in a few months and see what changed. Yes. And let's do it again.
Please, please. I would love to share our updates. I can't wait to see what this does for us.
Thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like to be featured on the show and experience your own transformational, powerful breakthrough, apply through the link in the description. And I'll see you soon.